Assalamu alaikum friends, hope you're fine. My name is Abdul Rouf Khan. As I had promised you, I'll be coming again in front of you to serve some of my friends about the basics of the chapters from the reasoning. So the chapter which we are going to discuss this time is the coding and decoding. So when we talk about the coding and decoding, what is coding and decoding all about? So when we talk about coding, coding means simply locking a message. When we lock a message, simply we call it as a coding. And when we unlock a message, that is called decoding. So when we unlock a message, that is called decoding. So this is an important chapter, important part of the competitive examinations. So coding and decoding, so there will be a word, there will be a message which is locked and you need to unlock it. So a pattern will be given out there, so where you need to identify what type of lock is maintained out there. So I'll be just using some of the basic things which you need to remember out here is that, so I'll be using some signs which you need to remember. So when we'll be having this type of sign, it means is coded as. Alright, so when we'll be using these four dots, it means in the same way. In the same way. So whenever you have these two dots, so we'll say is coded as, and whenever you have four dots, we'll be saying in the same way. So in the coding and decoding, so we'll be just trying to first discuss the basic questions, the understanding basic questions. So how this type of the questions can be solved. So here I have one more example with me. The basic first example which I'll be sharing with you is, let's say cat is coded as. So instead of writing is coded as, I'll be using these two dots. Cat is coded as DBU. If I'll ask anyone that do you know what is cat? So most probably they'll say yeah, we know what's cat. But instead of saying cat, if I'll ask anyone or you what is DBU, if I'll ask you what is DBU, can you answer it? I'm sure no one will be able to understand what is this DBU. So there's a question, cat is coded as DBU, there's a lock. In this word, there's a lock derived from this very message. So this message has been locked and we have got this very message. Cat is coded as DBU. जैसे कि cat को हमने कोड किया है DBU, in the same way, ऐसे ही in the same way, dog is coded as. अगर हमें बोला जाए कि dog को हम कैसे कोड करें, तो हमने देखना है कि dog का जो कोड के बाद जो लॉक्ड मैसेज होगी वो क्या होगी. तो उसको निकालने के लिए सबसे पहले we need to have a bit of analysis from this very side. Cat को अगर DBU इसने बनाया है तो कैसे बनाया? This is something very simple. You need to have a view on these three letters. So CAT DBU. If you should be enough smart and enough sharp to identify the relationship between C and D. The next letter after C is D. The next letter after A is B. The next letter after T is U. Same pattern we have to follow, same rule we have to follow for deriving the code for dog. D, E, next one O, P, G, H. So we'll say my answer for the code of dog is EPH. So that's derived just in this way pattern, the next letter following the next letter following the next letter. So in certain cases this is something the basics, right? This is something the basics. So for example, let's make one more example from the cat. So instead of writing C, I'll write D. So you got the first concept that it is the immediate next. But here I can say I'm writing, instead of writing now B, I'm writing C. So you should be able to identify and you should be able to mark this, that there is a difference of one, that there is a skipping of one letter. And instead of writing T, I'll write W. So what I need to do is, I'll just try to follow and I have an analysis of this very code. So C immediately D. If I need to decode dog, or so what I'll do, if I need to code the dog, so what I need to do, C immediate next, D immediate next E, A, B is skipped, that's why I'm making a dot like this, A, B, C, O, P, Q. Alright, so T, U, V, W. In the first one, 0 skip. In the second one, 1 skip. In the third one, 2 skips. So I'll be also skipping 2 letters, D, E, F, G. So my letter will be E, Q, G. So this is the way, the basic understanding of the coding and decoding. There are various dimensions of the coding and decoding. I'll be sharing one by one all of them. So for coding and decoding, it's very important that we should have a letter chart available with us. So we need to frame the letter chart, and that's something very important. And I suggest all of you to keep that letter chart all the time handy with you. So that should be separate in front of you. I don't want you write down that on the same notebook and try to flip the papers while solving the questions. No, take a separate paper, frame the chart on that, and keep that page always handy with you. So let's say how to frame that very letter chart. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Okay, alright. So in certain cases, we see that the codes are derived from this very table, right? The codes are derived from this very table. So I'll be sharing that. How come? So so this is the start to end. Now I'll be writing again the alphabetical order, but in reverse order. A, but in small letters. The start to end will be in capital letters. The end to start will be in small letters. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So that's it, right? So instead of now, so what you need to do is you need to also have a small understanding of this very table. So for example, instead of writing in the first question, so I showed you cat is written as DBU. In certain cases, maybe the cat is coded as, if for example the cat is coded as, instead of C, right, I'll be writing X. So you should be able to understand the reverse of the C is X. So instead of writing A, I'll be writing Z. So instead of writing T, I'll be writing G. And in the same way, if I'll ask you to decode the dog, so when I'm being asked to decode the dog, I should be able to identify that the code for D is W, code for D is W, then the code for O is the 15th, the code for the O is L, then the code for the G is T. So my answer will be WLT. So this is the basic understanding of the coding and decoding. However, this is the very initial basic concept of the coding and decoding. So I'll be sharing some of the more questions with you with the passage of time. Make it sure that you keep this very table always handy with you. I have a large collection of the questions from the coding and decoding. I'll be sharing with you all, and I'll make it sure that you practice as number of the questions which you can. So what are the questions you have in your book, any of the book? So make it sure that you practice all of the questions. So let me share some different types of the patterns, some different types of the locks. Let's say the earlier one, the cat I used, that was the 3 letters. Now I'll be using a different one. So let's say I have a book here is Central. Central is coded as, it's very easy, LARTNEC, right? So Central is coded as LARTNEC. Very first outset, at the very first outset, you should be able to identify that this is the reverse, the mirror image. So first from start, first from last. E here, N here, N here. You getting my point? So he has asked, how can we write in the same way? How can we write seminar? That's something very easy. And these questions, these are the questions you need not to solve, right? And you need not to use the pen and the copy. You should be easily able to say R in the start, or in the S in the last. But make it sure you search, you see all the options in your questions. So don't see any of the question, any of the option where the R is in start and S in the last and select that. No, make it sure you observe all the available options given to you. That's something very important while solving these questions. Maybe some of the option might be none of the above. So maybe some of the letters may not be matching. So if you are just seeing R in the start and S in the last, so you'll be selecting this. Maybe some of the one of the letters may not be exactly that. So maybe in that way case my answer will be NOA, none of the above. So you need to be very sharp while selecting the options for the questions, right? Okay, so one more question I'll be sharing here with you. If let's say one more question, there's a question I still remember. Remote is coded as routine, ROTEME. This is again a different form of the questions, right? This is the different form of the questions. So in this very question, you can identify two different things, right? E is here, right? E and E is here. One more thing you can easily identify, that the first letter is the same, correct? The last letter is the same, right? So this is something very important. So I need to, for example, if the question paper setter asks me, let's say, what is the code for, let's say, for example, tempo, TEMPLE. I need to be very, very, very sharp while selecting the options. So what he has done are here. Okay, now let's say REMOTE, ROTEME. So you need to just see what is the shuffle in the questions. So OTEM, EMOT. What he has done. OT, these two letters, OT. So these two letters and these two letters. So there's a swap. There's a swap of these two letters with these two letters. So this OT came out here and this EM came out here. Rest this and this remains same. The first and the last remain same and EM swapped with OT. So you need to identify first the options. For example, if the lock is like this, so what I need to do, I need to code temple. So I'll keep T same, two letters, which are these two letters to be swapped with these two letters, and the last one will be same. So what I'll do, I'll swap EM with the PL. So PL is here, I'll bring PL at second place, PL. And EM was here at the second and third place. I need to swap it with the third, fourth and the fifth place. So I'll write EMR here. So these are the different forms of the questions which are in your question and answer books, the question which are in your textbooks and other reference books. So I'll be inshallah trying to share with you maximum number of the questions, maximum number of the patterns, maximum number of the locks which are used in the coding and decoding type of the chapter. So with these words, I want to thank you all. This was just a gist of the coding and decoding, and I promise you that I'll be sharing inshallah with you the different patterns with you very soon. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.